they never, never really could. No, I'm so damn done, hun. I'm so damn done. Love has its limits. I guess we had some fun, but I'm so damn done. I really am. I'm so damn done. I'm so damn done. Oh yeah. Now get out of here. So you come back again, cheap or fly.
Playground of the Gods.
Gravity-free falcon flight carries the wind through cerulean skies. We gaze into the shimmering of long dead stars in the earthbound playground of the gods. Scent of the rain, sparks of light, the crimson of daybreak, the velvet of night. We bare our souls, behold now how it all responds in the earthbound playground of the gods. All of life surrounds you, let the world astound you. Stop, look around. Inhale, catch your breath, there's no room for regret. Exhale, slow it down. The mystery, there are spaces in between of things unseen, broken beauty. We pay the cost of all we've lost. We exist in the midst of mayhem and of bliss through tides of time. All of life surrounds you, let the world astound you. All of life surrounds you, let the world astound you. of the rain, sparks of light. Crimson of daybreak, the velvet of night. We bare our souls, behold now how it all responds in the earthbound playground of the gods. All of life surrounds you, let the world astound you. Stop, look around. Inhale, catch your breath, there's no room for regret. Exhale, slow it down. Through the mystery, there are spaces in between of things unseen, broken beauty. We pay the cost of all we've lost. We exist in the midst of mayhem and of bliss through tide of time. All of life surrounds you. Let the world astound you. Stop. Look around.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Hey, Brian.
Yo.
Mic off. Mic off. Hey, folks. Thanks so much. We are coming to you doing episode 36. Let me just move one button here. Yes. Episode 36, Playground of the Gods. And that was the opening track right there, Playground of the Gods. It's a kind of a recent song that myself and Randy Phillips, my vocal lyricist partner, she did the lyrics for it. And man, let's have a hand. Our guest artist this week, this episode, is Aubrey Johnson on vocals. How about a hand for her? Yeah. Aubrey, I loved that last scat solo you took.
Oh, thanks, Peter.
That was out of control, wild, just what the doctor ordered. On piano, Danny Green on the piano. Right above me, in the room above me, is Mac Layton. He's playing the bass. And over in the drum shed, complete with air conditioning, is Duncan Moore playing the drums. Did I get everybody? Yes, I think so. Well, we're playing this is our first time sort of performing together. Aubrey has been with us during the heat of the live streams during the pandemic, and she guest artist on a couple of tracks with us. She recorded her parts in an apartment in New York City, sent them to us, and then we played to them. And maybe I'll find the link for you guys. I'll send it out because they're two tracks that are worth hearing. So we got together and got a new body of music, and now we're performing it for you. So the next piece, we're doing a fair amount of Antonio Carlos Jobim compositions. This is one of his called Aubrey, help.
A Felicidade.
Felicidade. Yes. She's going to sing in Portuguese, by the way, folks. She's got it all going on.
Felicidade como é pluma que o vento vai levando pelo ar. Voa tão leve, mas tem a vida breve. Precisa que haja vento sem parar. Tristeza não tem fim, felicidade sim. Tristeza não tem fim, felicidade sim. A felicidade como em pluma que o vento vai levando pelo ar. Voa tão leve, mas tem a vida breve. Precisa que haja vento sem parar. A felicidade do pobre parece o grande ilusão do carnaval. A gente trabalha o ano inteiro por um momento de sonho pra fazer a fantasia de rei ou de pirata ou jardineira. Que tudo se acabar na quarta-feira. A felicidade, como é gota de orvalho numa pétalas de flor. Brilha tranquila, depois de leve oscila, e cai como uma lágrima de amor. A felicidade é só sonhando os olhos da minha namorada. E como esta noite passando, passando em busca da madrugada, vai embaixo, por favor, pra aquela cota alegre como o dia.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was cool. That was A Felicidade G. G?
G, felicidade.
Thank you. I'll continue to need help on that throughout the night. Beautiful. So, Aubrey's a new member of our sort of music family, and Digital Brian is here. He hasn't been here in a long time. With the last couple live streams, he's literally phoned in his performance by sending a video of, and it's wonderful to have him live with us. And he's here, and it's a funny story. I think it's because Brian, am I right to say that you and Aubrey come from the same town or it's the same region?
Oh, kind of the same region. How would I put it? Maybe within 100, 150 miles
Well,
or so.
that's pretty close.
Yeah.
And where was that region?
In dead center in Wisconsin, or near the Fond du Lac, Green Bay area.
Okay, so let me finish my story and then I'm going to turn it over to you. So Brian, something I've known about him is that when he's interested in, he lives in Palm Springs now, but any time there's anything to do with the Midwest where he's from, he alerts me. And so he said, there's this incredible jazz singer that's from sort of my area. You should hear her. And I heard her on YouTube, and I thought, this gal has it going on. And then we connected, and so this is a really neat chance for us to get to learn more about her and sort of experience making music with her. So I'll turn it over to Digital Brian, and he's as he does, he's great with details, and he's researched her whole life.
I sound like some bizarre stalker.
No.
All right. No. Aubrey, yes, I contacted Aubrey and heard what she was doing and said, this would be a great addition, but we're in the middle of the pandemic, so we said, how can we make this happen? Peter already said that we did something virtually. So now we have her literally in the studio. It ends up that Aubrey is pretty much everything. She's a vocalist, a composer, an arranger, band leader, educator. She's in New York City now. And I was just recently, Peter, I was talking to her about trying to get her to move out here to Southern California. She's giving me a little pushback, but I'll have to work on that.
Hey, New York, for a young musician, New York is
it's where you got to be, and that is where she is. We're so thankful to be able to have her here. We're going to get into it a little bit later, why she's here. But I wanted to ask, first of all, I always like to ask these two questions. You know, for yourself, Aubrey, what motivates you? What motivated you to say, hey, I'm going to become a vocalist. I'm going to do this thing?
I have a two-part answer to this question. The first part is genuine love and curiosity. I started singing when I was 4. I got really interested in it, and when I was 6, I decided to be a professional singer. So I was all about it from a very young age.
Good.
And you know, I think when you really love something, you want to know all about it. So that's why I pursued it in my education in college, and the jazz expanded my world into composition and arranging, and now I do all three, like you said, and it's really like curiosity and love that drives that, you know, just interest and wanting to know more and wanting to do more complex things and, you know, hear more music and take in more influences and all of that. And then the second part is connection, because you can learn about music, you can practice as much as you want, but if you're never actually connecting with a band or with an audience, then there's something missing. And I've found that is an extremely important, crucial piece for me, is like the chance to interact with other musicians and then to exchange energy with them and with the audience, because I think that's always what a performance is an energy exchange of some sort, and hopefully a positive one. So that's my motivation.
Excellent, excellent.
I
Okay.
agree, yes. Yeah.
Bravo. One other question then, and this is kind of a floating thing, because I've seen Peter through your life. I see all of a sudden you'll go totally binge on, for instance, Jobim, and you'll buy every album and everything he ever did, and that will be a phase for about a year, but then a year later it's a different musician, and you can really delve into them. So I ask you this in the context of right now, Aubrey, who's your mentor at this stage, and what are you trying to, you know, who are you following?
Oh, that's a great question. I have a mentor. Actually, I thought about this question because you told me in advance, and I have had a lot of. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of great mentors. Starting with my piano and voice teacher in high school, Christine Salerno in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without her, and also she's the reason that I sing in Portuguese and love Brazilian music.
All right.
And I'm sorry, you just asked me one, but I'm going to tell you the few. And then my uncle, great jazz musician who maybe we'll talk about later, so I won't give it away, but my uncle was a huge influence, Grammy Award-winning pianist and composer.
Wait, you got to mention them, because one thing, Aubrey, we were going to not, you know, we're in love with his music, but we were not going to pose it. We were leaving it up to you. Because we wanted everyone to know you for you. But,
sure,
but,
no, I appreciate it.
But he's an important cat you're talking about.
Of course. So my uncle was Lyle Mays, the co-founder and co-composer, arranger of all the music for the Pat Metheny Group, along with Pat Metheny. And they toured the world for over 30 years, and like I said, won a whole ton of Grammys. And we'll talk more about those later, because there's a fun story. And after that, Fred Hirsch, the great pianist, he's a good friend of mine, and he kind of guided my way from Michigan, where I went to college, to grad. And I was actually just meeting with him yesterday because he's out in LA. So Billy Childs is my current mentor. I've always loved his music and his arranging for voice, especially. So
excellent, excellent. Okay, so now we're going to move on. Okay, so like Peter was saying before, you know, Aubrey, she's in good company. She's from Wisconsin. You know, solid people there. So Wisconsin brought you a number of different people. Woody Herman and all the different Thundering Herds. Al Jarreau, Peter, he played with him at one point in time. Of course, Lyle, we just mentioned him. There's also a couple of others. Richard Davis, who was with Van Morrison and Laura Nyro at one point in time. Bunny Berrigan, amazing trumpet player in the early days. And Les Paul, of course, who invented multi-track recording as well as playing with his wife, Mary Ford. Viola Smith is a classic drummer. I've kind of mentioned her before. She was something. So yes, there's definitely big shoes to fill for Aubrey. So currently you're at Montclair State University and you're a jazz educator. What does that mean? Do you like go in every day? Is it an 8-hour deal every day with students?
No,
Okay.
definitely not. No, I'm an adjunct faculty member at Montclair and Queens College and LaGuardia Community College.
Okay.
And I just do one long day at Montclair. I teach jazz voice lessons, and I teach a class about the history of popular music and microphone technique. And I also have a vocal jazz ensemble of 13 singers.
Okay.
So I love that. It's great. But it's just one day, you know.
Yeah, okay. Oh, excellent. And then New England Conservatory, you taught out apparently at one point in time, as well as Berklee College of Music.
Yep.
And then let's move on to some of your projects. So you had Unraveled, and per what we were talking about earlier today, these are original compositions, arrangements, and you released with Outside in Music in 2020. And Steve Rodby, again, yes, co-produced
That's right,
with
me.
Aubrey.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, okay, so moving right along in 2021, okay, so you self-released and sang on Eberhard, which was after Lyle had passed away. And that won a Grammy Award, which is
For Best Composition,
yes, Best Instrumental Composition. Can you believe it?
right.
Let's a little hand on that one.
Ladies and gents,
Grammys
you got
did
to
right by Lyle. And that was his composition too.
Yeah, you had something to do with it. Okay, and then there was Play Favorites came along in 2022, and this is self-produced. This is a duo album with Randy Ingram. Tell me a little bit about that. Give us a feel for that.
Sure. Randy and I met about 7 or 8 years ago teaching at a jazz camp, and we really connected over like shared love of certain tunes, and he really likes working with singers, and honestly not everybody does. So and unfortunately,
I do.
They should. I know, and Peter does, of course. All the cool people do. Anyway, so Randy and I became good friends, and we played around New York City, and we always tossed around the idea of a duo album, and finally we made it happen. And the album consists of just like it's, you know, like the album, like title says, our favorite songs. Both of us are band leaders and composers in our own right. And so we use that album as a chance to sing and play some songs that maybe we wouldn't have a space for otherwise. And it's a variety of Brazilian music and our covers of pop tunes and some of our favorite standards. And we got to tour Japan last year, actually, with that album. So it was really fun, and we're hopefully going to go back. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And all three of these are on Spotify, but as well you have a website, Aubrey Johnson, right?
That's right.
Okay.
AubreyJohnsonMusic.com.
Excellent. Okay, and in the works, you have a couple of things going on. You have a composition residency. What does that mean? Let's get down to the brass tacks. You wake up in the morning, you have your coffee. Now what do you do with this residency?
Well, it happened last year in August. I was at McDowell Artist Residency in New Hampshire for a full month, and each artist that's there has their own like studio space, like it's kind of like a little cabin, and the musicians have grand pianos, and you're very isolated. Like the whole thing is like 450 acres, so like there's no one's ever going to come by and like bother you, and you just get to write and do your thing all day, or go for walks, or take naps, you know, or read books, listen to music, get inspired, and you get to meet a lot of other amazing artists. There were like, you know, visual artists there, and poets and authors and journalists and filmmakers, and then only a couple other musicians. So one of the best things was getting to chat with them every night at dinner, and like people gave presentations on their work, and it was incredible, like more than I ever could have imagined. So
Excellent.
that was really exciting, yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing you have going on is you're composing with Billy Childs with a new album.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's mentoring me. He's looking at my compositions and helping me, and then my band will rehearse with him a few times, and yeah, then we'll make the album hopefully in the fall. I'm planning in September. So
fantastic. And not only does she do that, but she's also a runner.
I like
and
that.
she's done 5 marathons today. She's got another one coming up in just a few days.
Sunday.
And it's absurd. You're coming down here, Leucadia, to do this
She
show.
should
and
have
you
run
go,
down
I
here."
know, you should have run. But
that's right. Yeah.
well, fantastic. So is that fun for you? What is the motivation there?
It's really fun, but health, staying in shape, and also it's really great for mental health too. Like extreme forms of exercise, really useful and fun. So yeah.
Well, thanks again for coming on down for the show. It's fantastic. We're looking forward to some of your other tunes here tonight. And I said on this slide, the next stop for you is Ipanema, and we may touch on that later, maybe not. We'll see.
We're going to do some Joni coming up.
Okay, let's do that right now.
Let's see how my tuning is. I have a capo on. Aubrey sings in super high keys.
Sorry.
No, and it's neat. Like the guitar, it just rings out. All right, so this is a piece called Little Green. This is on Joni's Blue album, just classic music. And then Aubrey, why don't you give me the tempo there?
Sure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Born with the moon in Cancer, choose her a name she will answer to. Call her green, and the winters cannot fade her. Call her green for the children who've made her little green. Be a gypsy dancer. He went to California, hearing that everything's warmer here. So you write him a letter and say her eyes are blue. He sends you a poem and she's lost to you, little green. He's a non-conformer, just a little green, like the color when the spring is born. There'll be crocuses to bring to school tomorrow, just a little green, like the lights when the northern lights perform. There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be sorrow. Child with a child pretending, weary of lies you are sending home. So you sign all the papers in the family name. You're sad and you're sorry, but you're not ashamed, little green. Have a happy ending, just a little green, like the color when the spring is born. There'll be crocuses to bring to school tomorrow, just a little green, like the nights when the northern lights perform. There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be sorrows. There'll be icicles and birthday clothes, and sometimes there'll be
Nice. Nice. Hey, folks, a little shout out to how this live stream, this incredibly lucrative live stream business works. We play and we create the music, and we invite you, if you feel inspired and your checkbook is being weighted down from too much money in the bank, we play for tips, ladies and gents, and people tip us through the different modalities. Venmo's a real fun one. PayPal, Zelle, and good old snail mail still works. So I think Steve, I'm looking. Yes, he's posting some information about how you can tip if you feel inspired, and we'll mention this at the end of the live stream and leave the information up. But we really appreciate it. It's worked out really great. We're not millionaires, but we paid for pizza, and that's a good start. All right, so we're going to do another Jobim song. This is one of his great compositions, Triste, and I set out to make an arrangement, and most of his songs, the groove is bossa nova, and I thought it'd be interesting to sort of split that up with the swing groove, which it's dangerous, but doing Jobim music with swing, but I think it kind of is interesting. So this is called Triste, and let's see if my guitar is working there. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, Brian, let's check in on the chat for a second. Is there anything going on? Like, do we have any?
You know, people are. 1 second. People are saying good things, Peter, but I don't want to switch right now because I got my dual.
Oh, the dual monitor. Okay.
Yeah, dual monitor thing. So,
but hold on 1 second. I think we're going to play meditation first before we do.
Oh, okay. Okay,
do
let's
one more
do that.
Jobim tune.
Yeah.
Danny, let me know. Are you looking on your phone? Is there anything we should know about on the chat? Like for instance, they might say, "Hey guys, it's not even. There's no sound coming out."
Sound and video are tip top, says James McLean.
Excellent.
Good. He's a good source.
Yeah.
And is like Chick Corea coming back from the spirit world?
No, but we got Julian Margot and Jeffrey Keyser sending a shout out.
Whoa.
Good.
Yeah.
Neat.
There was one person I think I saw from Sao Paulo, Brazil, looked official. I don't know if you scroll back up. Paulino
de Costa.
No, a different one.
Well, but let's just say hi to Jillian and Jeffrey Keyser. They're living in. Aubrey, do you ever run into them? They live in, I think, the Hudson Valley. No. He's from.
Okay.
He's from Eau Claire.
All right.
But do you ever run into him?
I don't, but I'm a fan.
Aren't we? God. So for a while, he and Jillian were living in San Diego and also LA, and it was cool. We did a lot of music together, and great people. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate you guys. Okay, so let's move on. Let's play the Jobim song. This one's called Meditation, and the song, it's an interesting thing. It was originally written, well, it wasn't originally written. It was written as sort of some fellow or some person meditating on being in love with another person. And so I played the tune for many years, and then I just thought, wouldn't it be fun to play it as if it was a meditation song? And so we come up with some textures. I've got a guitar that's got, let me just get that little, it's one of the challenges of doing Indian ragas is to stay in tune, because sounds like Killer Joe. Doesn't it, Doug? Okay, so this is our version of meditation.
when you're gone and I'm all by myself and I need your caress, and I just think of you, and the thought of you holding me near makes my loneliness soon disappear. Though you're far away, I have only to close my eyes and you are here to stay. And I just close my eyes, and the sadness that missing you brings soon is gone, and this heart of mine sings to you. Oh yes, I love you so, and that for me is all I need to know. I
sweet life will be when you come back to me. How sweet life will be when you come back to me. How sweet life will be when you come back to me.
Yes. Yeah, that's fun to sing. I hate to listen back to it, but man, that feels, I can feel the vibe right there. That was Meditation. Beautiful. Danny, man, beautiful solo. That was great. So listen, right now, because we've been doing so many Antonio Carlos Jobim songs, Digital Brian has done some research, as he does, and he's got a story to tell. All right, so Digital Brian, what's up?
Okay, switch it on over there, Steve.
Great.
All right. Okay. So yeah, like Peter said, tonight we have a number of different tunes from Jobim, but there's others in the mix. But I decided I was going to focus on Jobim himself, his music, his beliefs, his passions, and his overall persona.
Oh, I love it.
So this is the way we're going to take it to, and many of us just think that he was a musician and composer, at least people who know who Jobim is. But actually, he was a lot different things. He was many other different things. He was an arranger, he's a poet, he was a steadfast ecologist, he was a multi-instrumentalist. It was amazing. He played piano, guitar, flute, as well as sing. And his name was actually Antonio Carlos Brasileiro de Almeida Jobim.
Brasileiro.
And can you imagine having to fill that out in a DMV form? I mean, oh, forget about it. Anyway, so we're going to start this out. It all starts for Jobim, in my sense. I started to look up about Jobim, and all of a sudden I started reading about Chicago, and I was wondering why this was. Well, it ends up that the jazz rock group Chicago, one of the actual leaders of the leader, Robert Lamb, was, after he was successful as their rock group, he decided he wanted to go back to his roots and kind of learn more about Jobim. And what he found was there was no biography or autobiography written about him, and he could find very little. But he did find a book that his sister had written in Portuguese, and this was circa late 90s. So he actually contacted the sister and found somebody that would do the interpretation and translation of the book. Now, Jobim himself and his sister, who was a noted writer, were very particular about who would do this translation because the words mean so much in Portuguese when you translate over and the translation can be lost. So they sought out the right person in order to do the translation. The book came out in 2011, and the book came out again out of a Wisconsin publisher, Peter, Leonard Feather, and actually but the reason I mention this is it's to get it in hardcover or an actual book is difficult now, but you can get it on ebook. So this is kind of the basis of where I'm going with this. So one of the things we talked about is just to give you perspective. And I'm doing this because I'm kind of lacking screens tonight, but this is a snapshot of the I'm From app to give you a feeling for where Rio is down on the bottom right and where Ipanema Beach is, and then where Porto Fundo is. And this is, Porto Fundo is where Jobim actually had his kind of the equivalent is the up north cottage in the Wisconsin area. So this is where he would go up, and literally it was a cloud forest. So this is where he hung out quite a bit. Again, he had a piano, he'd do composing there. But predominantly he'd live down in Ipanema Beach and in Rio and within sight shot of Corcovado Mountain. So that's just to give you a feel for where he lived when he was down in Brazil. Now here's his mother. His mother was 16 years old when she had him. And the father only stuck around for about 1 or 2 years, and he left. And anybody who has a 2-year-old can probably relate to that a little bit.
What, relate to leaving?
Relate to the fact that it gets difficult having all the crying. But anyway, moving on with the story. He came back at about age 3 or 4. He stayed for another 2 years, and then he left, and he was never a part of Jobim's life after that period of time. Now, this is actually Jobim when he's about age 4. He was pretty much a fashionista at that point in time, so he liked to wear some decent, flashy clothes. I like that. Here's him, Jobim, with his sister at age 14. They hung out together continuously through their life and compared notes in terms of where they were and in their respective careers. And again, she wrote this book. Now, Tom, when he actually started out, he took his test to go into college, and he pretty much aced all his exams. He's in the top 5% of all categories, and he decided he wanted to be an engineer. Then he finally decided, no, he's going to be an architect, because that way you could have the blend of science and art. So he went into architecture school for pretty much 1 semester, and then he quit. And he decided he really wanted to pursue music, because that was his passion. And so that is exactly what he did. And his family all endorsed it wholeheartedly and actually backed him up financially, while he then was already, he himself had his own child at that point in time. And so he had to kind of work nights as well as go to school day kind of thing. So here's some pictures early in his career. You can see him working out at the keyboard. You can see on the bottom, this is Vinicius de Moraes. I'm going to call him Moraes. They say Moraes, you know, when I look for the pronunciation. So he was the guy who actually penned the lyrics in Portuguese for Girl from Ipanema, and that's him over here on the left raising his hand. And he was, from what I can understand, he sounded like a pretty much a character type guy. Yeah. But he was in his life, pretty much his whole life. Now over here are some other kind of mid-career slides when he was with Stan Getz is up here over to the left, and then in the bottom left you can see with Andy Williams. He was playing on the Andy Williams show at one point in time, and over to the right he's playing with Frank Sinatra, and apparently they're midstream of some pretty good joke there at that point. Mm-hmm. Now here's later in the career, here's wherever there's good music, you'll find Pat Metheny.
Yeah.
So he played with Pat Metheny at Carnegie Hall in '94, which actually Herbie Hancock was on keyboards for that gig. And that's up on YouTube. And it's funny to watch because it's the only time I've ever seen Metheny in a black suit with tie. It's just hilarious.
Only for Jobim.
Yeah. And in the upper right, he was actually with Sting. He did a couple of different things, kind of Save the Rainforest Foundation with Sting. And I love that picture that they have of, you know, the Caetano Veloso. I think it's Caetano or Saitano. I'm not quite certain there. Caetano, yeah. And that's for part of one of these foundation ceremonies that they had, or one of these different concerts. Moving along, for leisure, he was always, since he was 4 or 5 years old, he would pheasant hunt, and that's a picture on the left, and he would fish. And this continued throughout his entire life. These were the two things he loved to do. And he'd go out into the forest. Later on in the career, there was the Banda Nova, which apparently was a very popular band. You know about him a lot more,
yes.
Peter.
Well, I know about that band.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
His Paulo, I think.
Yeah, and Paulo is his son. He was actually in the band. He was a guitarist then by that period of time. And Paulo later on actually did some of the cover art for some of his albums. And we'll get to that a little bit later. So that's later in his career. Now here's where he's relaxing at his Poco Fundo. And I took this picture because his sister said within the book, there were stretches of years where he would lay around in his pajamas and he wasn't writing or doing anything with music. And if you look at these pajamas, they're real thick. And I was thinking, like, why would he be wearing these? This is like a rainforest. But then it dawned on me, and I'm certain Aubrey can relate to this, those mosquitoes get vicious, you know. And so he probably has this real thick pajama on, more as mosquito protection than it is for anything else. At least that's the way I justify it. I thought it was kind of funny. Now, he later hung out with a number of different guys. This is a guy who owned one of the steakhouses in Ipanema. And at that point in time, he enjoyed his beverages, and I counted over 50 whiskey glasses on this table between the two guys. And at that point in time, it was he was 35 years married to his first wife, Teresa, and at that point in time, she divorced him. She said she's had enough of that activity. And then he later on met his second wife, which was Anna. So that gives you a little bit of background, kind of things you don't normally see or find on the web, I guess is what you would say. Now we're going to go through just studio albums. We're not going to go through each album, that kind of thing. I was just going to do the 60s and let Peter talk about this set of albums. Peter, what do you got to say?
So that one on the very far right, that's an album that I knew a little bit. He recorded a bunch of albums on the CTI label, and that was one of them that I really loved.
I see. Excellent.
Yeah. And then
now,
next
then
page.
move on to the next page, the 70s.
Yes, and then that one, Stoneflower, that's got some great stuff on it. I mean, they're probably all great. I don't know all of them, but I think on the next page is that one, Passarim. That's one of my favorites. I don't know if folks have heard that one, but it's called Passarim, and that's also the name of one of the songs. And they do fascinating rhythm with a really incredible samba groove.
You've done an arrangement of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that's one of my favorites.
And that was his son actually did the album cover on that album too, specifically. And then in the 90s, he had some other efforts, which I think were more locally kind of put together. So, because I don't find these necessarily on Spotify or in the streaming services. Then he did a number of different collaborative albums, right?
Right.
He did things like, the Stan Getz album. This was a big album with Getz Gilberto.
Yeah.
And there was also this album with Agua de Beber with Elis Regina. Yes, and that was fantastic.
Super cool.
Really good album. But he had this Eddie and Tom were big albums at the time. So I kind of wanted to look a little bit in terms of, okay, Bossa Nova, what was all this? Who was involved in actually defining who Bossa Nova was? And so I kind of just specifically looked at some of the guitarists. Lorinda Almeida was one of the main guitarists that kind of was even pre-Bossa Nova. And he actually at one point in time played here in Ilarios. Mm-hmm. Then there was Joao Gilberto. He was allegedly a real character. He was very difficult to work with, apparently. And everybody has their stories about working with the guy. But if you wanted to use Astrid's vocals, you had to deal with Joao. So that's what you got with the whole deal. Then there's Louise Bonfa as well as Charlie Bird. These guys were really seminal in terms of defining the guitar movement at the time for Bossa Nova. Of course, Stan Getz, he pretty much introduced, with the Getz Gilberto album, introduced Bossa Nova to the U.S. market, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. And then there's also Astrid, of course. She pretty much put everything on the map with Girl from Ipanema, and the interesting part too from her standpoint is she never received $1 worth of royalties out of that song, yet it sold millions and millions.
She should have done live streams.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Vinicius, here he is again. This is again his companion and lyricist for Girl from Ipanema. And so the real girl from Ipanema is here. Her name is Elo Pinheiro, and actually, I looked her up on a website, and so at the time that the song was written, she was a 17-year-old girl, and she used to walk the beach of Ipanema each morning. And the reason she was walking the beach, apparently, was because she had stopped in at a place to buy a pack of cigarettes for her mother. And that's how they both would see her walking by every day on the beach. Now, it ends up, she also has one of these massive names when you look at it. I won't even try to pronounce that one because it has like 6 different names. But I think it must be in Brazil that part of your history, your family history, is embedded in your name, is what I'm gathering from all of this. So then here you can kind of see, I believe this was up in the Fundo property that he had up in the cloud forest, and he would sit there and work out some tunes. You can see his guitar sitting over there on the actual bench. And he really enjoyed that property. He spent almost more time up there than he did anywhere else. And he had said that creation is an act of love, and it's something that communicates with pretty much all humanity. And he says when people would ask him, when friends would ask him what he's doing, he'd tell them, he'd say, I'm working to deserve that Jobim bronze statue in the park somewhere one day. And he actually got his wish, because here's the bronze statue now that is on the beach of Ipanema. And a great look to him hauling his guitar. And I'm hoping that I gave you a little bit of perspective about who Jobim was.
Nice, Brian.
And brilliant artist, and we love his music. And even to this day, man, I'll listen to those albums. They're just fantastic. And
yeah.
And that's it. Okay, thanks.
Great.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Wait a minute, Steve, I got one more thing.
Okay.
You got to switch it back.
Sorry.
I forgot, there's one more thing. It's our birthday. We're coming up on 4 years for Live-ish. This
Live-ish at
this
SpragueLand.
April. And during that period of time, 4 years ago, is when Peter headed over to the Home Depot and we bought the conduit to lay the pipe. And there it is, and there's Peter going ahead laying that cable, which we see. Now, as I was out there today, I was kind of looking to see, is this thing okay yet? Is it still intact? And I saw this. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, there's a piece of gear laying over in the dirt over here.
It's going to make its way to the trash at some point.
I'm saying, like, what is going on over here? And I thought maybe Peter's starting a new gear growing dispensary or something here at SpragueLand. And I couldn't figure it out. Peter, what is going on?
Just getting rid of gear that's not happy anymore.
Okay, all right. Well, that's it. All right, so happy birthday.
Nice. Well, thank you, Brian.
Yo.
Wonderful. Let's do a little more music, folks. We haven't bopped the bee at all tonight, so it's time to do a little bebop. Everyone in one piece out there? Mm-hmm. All right. So there's the key. And this is one of mine. This is called Can't Make Much Sense Out of You. Here it is. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Is it this? Was it that? When I think too damn much, I can make much sense out of you. Never right, always wrong. If I can't figure that, I can make much sense out of you. I think a better way, I let my mind flow free, and let the tangle of our hearts melt into heaven, and that it might be the most delicious day. Just don't give up the truck that's heading our way. Jump out, listen here, talking there. If you can figure out me, I can start making sense out of you.
drum solo. Heading home.
Wasn't bad. When I think too damn much, I can make much sense out of you. Never right, always wrong. If I can't figure that, I can make much sense out of you. I think a better way, I let my mind flow free, and let the tangle of our hearts melt into heaven. And that it might be the most delicious day. Just don't give up the truck that's heading our way. Jump out, listen here, talking there. If you can't figure out me, I can start making sense out of you. When I think too damn much, I can make much sense out of you. If you figure out me, I can start making sense out of you.
That's how they do it in Leucadia, everybody. That's how they do it. Oh, very nice. Here's a piece of mine. This is a song called Saudade de Voce.
você, nós dois, aqui neste terraço, à beira-mar. O sol já vai caindo e o seu olhar parece acompanhar a cor do mar. Você tem de ir embora, a tarde cai e cores se desfaz, escureceu. O sol caiu no mar e aquela luz lá embaixo se acendeu, você e eu. Eu, você, nós dois sozinhos neste bar à meia luz e uma grande lua saiu do mar. Parece que este bar já vai fechar e há sempre uma canção para contar, aquela velha história de um desejo que todas as canções têm pra contar. E veio aquele beijo, aquele beijo. You and I, we two, alone here in this bar with dimming lights. A full and rising moon comes from the sea, and soon the bar will close for you and me. But there will always be a song to tell, a story you and I cannot dismiss. That same old simple story of desire, and suddenly that kiss, that kiss, that kiss, oh, that kiss, that
Yes, indeed. Fotographia. We went from my little piece into Jobim's Fotographia. That was gorgeous. Love that. Well, listen, we have one more song to play, but before that, we're going to have a quiz, a competition of sorts. We're going to get Brian. We're giving away that the Jobim biography book for the first person that comes in contact with the answer to this question that Brian is going to pose. And so what we'll do is he'll pose the question. You guys go search your, no internet allowed. You'll search the internet to find the answer, and the first one to kind of come up with it wins this ebook. And you'll send your information to me, and then I'll get it to you. But it's a generous thing, and Brian has connected this all. So Brian,
Peter,
yes.
remember to tell them they have to enter it in the chat.
Okay, yeah, you have to enter it in the chat, or you could do it snail mail too, but you might lose because it's the first one to make it to me. So you might lose if you do snail, but okay, pose the question there, Brian.
Okay, it's that time again, people. It is quiz time. Everybody's looking forward to this. Okay, we're going to make this quick. All right. The Portuguese lyrics for Garota de Ipanema were written by Vinicius de Moraes. Okay, so tonight's question is, who wrote the lyrics for the English version of this song, which was called Girl from Ipanema?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Okay, so as Peter said, so tonight what you're going to get is if the winner gets this, it's a Kindle ebook of The Illuminated Man, because like I said, it's hard to get the hardcover. So this is a way of getting it to you. And all that is required is the winner will go ahead and send an email to Peter, and you just need the email address in order to redeem that. So that's our question for tonight.
And we'll come back with the results after this tune. We always need to play a Beatles song when we do gigs. No matter what kind of a gig, if it's playing with Pat Metheny, we still got to do a Beatles song. So this is our version of one of the Beatle greats. This is called Norwegian Wood. Everyone good?
I once had a girl, or should I say, she once had me. She showed me her room. Isn't it good? Norwegian wood. She asked me to stay and she told me to sit anywhere. So I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair. I sat on a rug She told me she worked in the morning and started to laugh. I told her I didn't, and I crawled off to sleep in the bath. And when I awoke, I was alone. This bird had flown. So I lit a fire. Isn't it good? Norwegian wood. Oh,
Super cool. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Thank you so much. And let's see who won the ebook on Antonio Carlos Jobim. Brian?
Okay, switch me back in, Steve. Wrong hand. Nope. There it is. Okay, again, the question was who wrote the lyrics for the English version of the song Girl from Ipanema, and the answer is Norman Gimbel. Now it ends up, Norman Gimbel had a number of different tunes that he wrote. He was pretty prolific. He wrote Killing Me Softly for Roberta Flack. Jim Croce's I Got a Name.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote 150 tunes with Charles Fox. So that's our winner. That's the winning entry. And so the person that got it first,
Yep.
James McLean.
Good.
There he is.
He's
And second runner-up was Nicky Batura.
All right. So James McLean, I probably have your address somewhere, but just remind me, send me an email, and we'll get the book to you. And that's thanks to Brian for being generous and doing the research. And
James is one of my students.
that's so, isn't it?
Yeah,
Excellent.
Maybe you can borrow the ebook after he reads it.
I'm going to, and probably not give it back.
Give it to me. We'll pass it around. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that man that you just heard speaking, that's Duncan Moore, and he's on the drums. How about a hand? Holding down the low end masterfully. That's Mac Layton on the bass.
Yes.
Geez, I've played so many gigs with Mac, I can't forget his name. Danny Green is on the piano playing beautifully. Danny Green. On the vocals, our guest, Aubrey Johnson.
One thing, Peter.
Yes.
We didn't get, earlier on, Audrey said that she had a funny story about the Grammy with Lyle. So
Yeah, I wanna hear it.
I want to give a forum for her right now to tell
I want
that
to hear
story.
it, too.
It's not a funny story.
Okay, it's a story.
It's a good story.
Okay.
I wasn't ready for that. Okay, so it's not, yeah. So before Lyle passed away, he recorded one final piece, a 13-minute master work dedicated to Eberhard Weber with 16 musicians, including me, singing. And he passed away before we were able to release it. And so it fell to me to figure out how to do it. And I decided to release this one piece as like a one-track CD, a one-track vinyl, one-track album on streaming against a lot of people's advice. And it went really well. I ran like a Grammy campaign, and like we said before, it won the Grammy for Best Instrumental Composition, and I got to go to the Grammys and receive it on his behalf. So that was like kind of maybe one of the best moments of life, I think, and so
Yeah.
great to do something right.
Very much, yeah.
Did they call you up on stage and give you the Grammy and then you gave a speech and stuff?
Yeah.
Man,
Did the thing. Yeah.
good for you. Well, ladies and gents, that tune that she's talking about, that got the Grammy, I've listened to it a zillion times. I'm a huge fan of Lyle, and that is a great piece. It travels through all these different sonic worlds of feeling, and incredible. So check it out. You could probably buy it, I'm sure, but you could also go to Spotify, and Lyle will get posthumously royalties of minuscule amounts, but every bit counts. Hey, how about a hand for Steve, our switcher? Steve, our switcher.
Yeah.
He does an incredible job. He helps me set up. He's really great with details.
Poke your head out.
And then Brian Baltazar, Digital Brian, for research and development. Yeah. All right. So, folks, if it was a good night and you feel inspired, we'd love to have you send tips, and we'll leave that information up for a second. You can do it either snail mail, Venmo, PayPal. If you do PayPal, do friends and family version of it, where otherwise they take half our money away to fund what heavens knows what, probably SpaceX or something.
Yeah.
Which is actually pretty good. All right. So that's the word. We'll come back again next time. Thanks for being with us. So long, over and out. Adios.